The Delphi Murders: Questions for the Family. On February 13th, 2017, 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German went missing from their hometown of Delphi, Indiana. Their murdered bodies were found the next day on wooded private property adjacent to the Monon High Bridge Trail, part of the 10-mile Delphi Historic Trails system. The case remains unsolved. We have some questions for the family. Why did you drive 2 routes from Libby's home to the trails, looking for the girls in case they walked home, instead of to Abby's house to see if they walked there, which was much closer? It's been said in interviews that the Williams home was only visited to look for Abby's mother, to inform her that the girls were missing, not to look for them there. How did you know the girls would not be at Abby's home? Have all of Libby's old journals been turned over to law enforcement? Were both adult male children in the Patty household driving without valid driver's licenses that day? Kelsey has said that she and her friends were watching movies with the girls on the night of February 12th. Who were these friends, and can they verify this? Did these friends also sleep over? Kelsey, will you list all the screen names you were using prior to the murders, as well as the platforms on which you were using them? Were you communicating with Libby using fake accounts? Were you catfishing Libby and/or Abby? Becky, the night the girls were missing, you were seen and heard on camera saying, "They have our girls." Who did you mean? Kelsey, why are you saying 2 different things about knowing Anthony_Shots? Mike, how do you know Abby and Libby never left one another's sides? Kelsey, in what context or setting was your "life is extraordinary" speech given? Now that you're older, how do you feel about the appropriateness of the words you wrote and delivered? I calmly said no. Interrogated by countless police officers and FBI agents. My family members were now the stars. I could have saved them. Normally, I would have went with them. My sister's death or running out of granola bars, something is always changing. But if I allow myself to see these changes in a negative direction, I'll no longer be living a life that inspires others or myself. Amazing memories and experiences that outweigh all the bad. Been on national TV, been in New York City, met a Victoria's Secret supermodel, been on both sides of the US in a month, met every single news reporter and FBI agent in the state. Thousands of amazing great friends in just a short year. All of these experiences, I'm grateful for every single one of them. In the end, it's absolutely extraordinary. Where is the proof that Mike was at work on February 13th, 2017? Mike, were you in Delphi buying drinks at a convenience store or gas station on the day of the murders? Kelsey, did you or anyone you know ever pretend to be Anthony underscore shots? Kelsey, what did you mean when you told Doug Carter that, quote, everyone goes down the hill? Mike, at the first press conference at which you spoke, you said, it's too bad it had to happen like that. What did you mean? A question for Delphi Community Schools. Was Promise Not to Tell required reading for 8th grade students in the 2016 to 2017 school year, as Kelsey stated in the live interview with Gray Hughes in July 2022? Are there any sweatshirts that are missing that Libby may have had with her that day? Describe them. When did you tell law enforcement you gave the girls sweatshirts or jackets or hoodies? Was it when you were giving their descriptions? Or did law enforcement tell you that they had found Kelsey's sweatshirt somewhere and asked her how it got there? How much money has been raised to date in the girls' names? Who or what entity is managing the funds that are raised? On what has the money been spent? Where will profits from the ballpark be directed? Are there plans to develop a scholarship or some other way to honor the girls? Or are the families keeping the profits generated by the park into perpetuity? When was the very first meeting about the ballpark, and who was at the meeting? Why hasn't a private investigator been hired with funds raised? Kelsey, on the infamous Indie podcast with Joe Malillo on February 10th, 2019, you said you showed the police the Snapchats that you saw. Quote, the picture of Abby on the other end of the bridge and the picture of Libby leaning down. It's of Highbridge. End quote. What picture of Libby leaning down? Have you seen any other videos of Abby and Libby from the day they went missing? If so, why haven't you shared them? Is it true that Libby was involved in a fight with some other kids in the week or two before the murders? If so, what was it about? Where did Cody work at the time of the murders? What did Cody drive at the time of the murders? Where did Cody search on February 13th? Some boys are incredibly dumb. 10:36 a.m., February 13th, 2017. Twitter for iPhone. Kelsey, what was this tweet about just hours before you dropped the girls off at the trails? Why didn't anybody hear Derek yelling for his daughter, Libby? Why was Tara sitting with Derek in his car? Why didn't Tara and Derek ask Cheyenne if she'd seen the girls? Have any of you met either of the Kleins? If so, where? Why? And when? Do you think either of them are involved in the murders? Why or why not? Kelsey, why did you make your debunking video private and therefore inaccessible? Which parts of it do you not want us to hear again? I think that he is somebody close to us. We probably talk to him every single day and we're not connecting him to it. We're not realizing that he's the person, and it could be that he's the best person in the world to us, and that he, the person he puts onto us, and that fake identity that he's giving us is not the same person that he was in that moment. Kelsey, this is what you said to Crawl Space podcast hosts Tim Polari and Lance Reinstierna on November 20th, 2019. Who did you have in mind? Mike, when you were in the canoe in Deer Creek, what were you looking for? When you were in the creek with a metal detector, what were you looking for? Is there truth to the rumor that Mike was stepping out of his marriage with other women? If so, with whom? Kelsey, you have said that when the shoe was found, you just knew the girls were dead. What gave you that idea? Can you elaborate? Becky, the vast majority of family is cleared, according to Superintendent Doug Carter. Please tell us who you think is not cleared. Sheriff Tobe Lesenby said, "Whoever did this knew the lay of the land." He said, "When an arrest is made, which he believes will happen, community members will likely be shocked at the identity of those arrested." Who do you think he meant? Kelsey, what was the timeline of what you, Chase, and Bree were doing on Sunday the 12th, Monday the 13th, and Tuesday the 14th? When being interviewed for the Scene of the Crime podcast, why did Bree say you went out to eat after you dropped the girls off? But that is not in the timeline you've repeated scores of times in podcasts and other interviews. Most importantly, why was this detail, and Bree's whole interview, left out of the Scene of the Crime podcast produced by Gray Hughes and you? Did you go out to eat? If so, where? Kelsey, in your 2018 interview with James Renner, you said, "That day there were 10 to 20 kids there when I dropped them off." Where were they standing? By this sign? By that fence? Where? Did they see you drop the girls off? What do the phone records show? Did anybody closely associated to the girls, all family members and close friends, have burner phones? Kelsey, in 2017, how skilled were you at photo editing? Kelsey, did you go to work at all February 13th while your sister was missing and presumed injured? If you did, it must have only been for about 10 minutes. So how and why were you, quote, covered in ice cream, end quote, when you got to the police station with your alibi, Bree? Kelsey, do you believe that when Doug Carter mentioned the shack during the April 2019 press conference, he was sending you a message because of your strange behavior in the interview with James Renner just 6 months prior? Kelsey, on the ride to the trails, who was sitting where? Were their windows up or down, or just cracked because it was chilly? Music blaring or talking on the phone? Talking to Chase on the way there, or called him when you arrived? Or is it true that Libby was going to speak to law enforcement about something the week of the murders? I think that he is somebody close to us. We probably talk to him every single day. Kelsey Seibert, November 2019. Have more questions? Put them in the comments. Thank you for watching.